excited today to make a Spanish tortilla. I had a request for this item. A friend of mine said she's afraid to make it, so I'm gonna show you how to do it. It has a lot of steps, but the ingredients are simple. There's really just 5 ingredients. Potatoes, obviously, onion, salt, eggs, and olive oil, and that's it. You won't believe how good it is. And I learned this from when I lived in Spain in 1983. I had the most wonderful roommate, and she's still my friend, Blasi Naranjo, who is just one of the best people in the world. She learned this from watching her mother cook back in Camuñas in Spain, and I visited her mother there, knew them in the 80s when I lived there, and she taught me how to make this tortilla. And I have to tell you, when I make this, people are like, oh my God, this is so good, this is so authentic. And so I'm just grateful to have learned this. It takes a lot of steps, but it's not that hard. It seems a little bit intimidating, but it's really not. You can do it. It takes a little time, but it's a simple, yummy, yummy meal. Never had anyone say they didn't like it. Okay, so this is hilarious. I said it's not really that complicated, but this might look a little intimidating, but it's not. It's just you need to be able to drain potatoes, you need to saute potatoes, and you need to be able to flip things over in a pan. And I'm going to show you how to do all of that. So this is the equipment you should have ready. I always like to know what I'm going to need to have at the ready when I start cooking something. So you need a pan. Oops, that's the wrong one. You need a pan to saute the potatoes. You're going to put like a good amount of olive oil, and they're going to be in there for about 20 minutes. Then you need a bowl to mix some eggs in that you're going to eventually add the potatoes to. You need these implements, a spoon to deal with the potatoes, a spatula when you get to the part I'll talk about next. You need to cut up the potatoes, and then one thing is you need to drain the olive oil, because you're going to use a lot of olive oil, and you're going to be like, man, this is a lot of olive oil. It's really expensive. But don't worry about that. You can use it again. So you're going to drain it into something, and then you save it, and you just recycle it the next time you want to make this. So I'm starting with, these are russet potatoes. I'm starting with 4 potatoes. You can actually use pretty much any kind of potatoes. I like russet potatoes. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to cut up the potatoes, and you can choose the way you like the best. Okay, so this is the authentic way. Okay, so you got a picture of me and Blasi in our little apartment in Madrid, Spain, back in the 80s, and she's showing me how to do this. And you can even get a little bit smaller paring knife. So this is making little chips of potatoes. So see, that's like uneven, and that's good, because you're going to put this in olive oil, like I said, and it's going to, soak up the olive oil, and it's going to be so delicious. And so this was great because, I was learning Spanish, and I was in a new culture, and Blasi was teaching me this stuff, and I would be like, how are you getting it? How are you doing it so fast? How are you doing this? And in my broken Spanish, and she would be done with the potato by now, honestly. But it's a great way. It was a really, the thing about cooking and doing the dishes and stuff is that it's a chance to get to know people. It's a chance if you're doing it together, which I guess if I were doing this together, I might always cut them this way because of the opportunity to talk, and this makes me want to do all the potatoes this way because it really is delicious. Oh my God, it's so good. But I'm going to show you all the different ways. You want the pieces to be like that thin, thickest like that. All right, now this is the Carolyn Fairman method, which like I said, resisted, thinking I'm the one who lived in Spain. I know how to do this. And she's like, yeah, but it's so much easier. And so you cut it in half. Okay, so you have 2 halves, and then you're going to cut each half in half again. And now, to show you, so you just go like this. It's just easier on the hands, right? It's kind of the same thing. When you will see, when you do the Cuisinart, man, it's awesome. Oh, by the way, I have no idea how this is going to turn out with 3 different ways of cutting the potatoes. So you can see how these are much more even, which, like, that's what I learned, and this is the other way. And so, they're just going to cook slightly differently. All right, so way number 3 with Cuisinart, which is speedy and great. So you're gonna cut your potato into quarters like this. So this one fits. Yeah, they all fit. Sometimes they're a little thick to go through there. But anyway, we got this implement. So now I'm gonna turn it on and watch how fast this is. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that. Woo! Woohoo! I mean, really, like the difference, now I know why I always do it this way. Oh, see, that was a little big, but you just push it in. Voila, I am done. Okay, that's a time saver. Modern kitchen. All right, now the potatoes, making the potatoes. So olive oil. The better, the olive oil, the better, but you know, you need a lot. I'm probably gonna put in like that much. You want it to, you know, the potatoes have to be immersed in the olive oil, like not completely. So I kind of skimp because olive oil is expensive. So I'm just gonna pour some in. What I'm doing is looking at the amount of my potatoes and I'm thinking, how much am I gonna need to get them to be really, you know, soak up some olive oil while they're cooking. Okay, so now I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of olive oil. Okay, so how much is that? That's a lot. Now the thing is, you can use this again, the olive oil. I'll show you that later. So sometimes what I do is I do a little cheater thing where I put a little extra canola or vegetable oil in just to fill it out. It doesn't really affect the flavor that much. Just to kind of give it a little, there we go. Okay, so I've got this going. You guys can see in here how the potatoes are, you know, simmering around the edges. So that's what I do just to test it. Yeah, see, it takes a minute for that to get, but that's good. I think I can pour the potatoes in. By the way, this is on like medium heat, medium-high heat. Okay, so now I am going to put in the potatoes. I don't want to splash the oil, so you want to be careful about this. My mom taught me to put your spoon there, and then it doesn't, there, you catch them. Okay, so that's a lot of potatoes. I probably should have done 3, but that's okay. This will be a nice big tortilla. You know, I could leave some out and leave them in the bowl and then throw them out or something, but I think I'm gonna just do that. All right. So now this is my method. A couple things. This is where I'm gonna put the salt in, excuse me. Okay, so let me just get these around. Because like I said, I'm a little chintzy with the olive oil. I don't like to use too much. Okay, but that's really kind of not enough olive oil. It needs to be peeking through there. Okay, so I am going to put a little more oil. This is one from a previous tortilla. Remember I said you could save it and use it again? So I'm going to pour that in there. Okay. That is better. Yeah, you can see. Okay, so like when I move the spoon around, I can see the pool of olive oil. That's what you want. So now these have to cook for a while, and they have to cook down, and those are gonna get mushy. This is when you put the salt in. Okay, so I'm gonna just estimate how much salt. Here I go. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna say that's about a little more. Okay, that's probably a tablespoon, maybe a little less of salt. And I think that's gonna be good. I have screwed up, when I don't make this often, I'll sometimes mess up the salt. So I did write down the recipe. But like, that's a lot of potatoes and you wanna taste the salt. So the other thing is you're gonna put salt in the eggs as well. So you're gonna have a nice, and you want it in both places. I don't really know why, but it just makes it taste better. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, I am gonna add onions, but I'm not adding them yet because I found that the timing of adding the onions can be change the taste. So this was that whole onion that you saw, and it's in 2 halves. One of the things that I was super surprised about when I learned to do this from Blossy was that how little onion you put in. And so now looking at this amount of potatoes in this pan, I am going to say, and she always said half an onion. And I was like, half an onion? That's not enough. But it is. I think it is. So, yeah, I'm going to put them in now. If you wait, you get a little, sometimes you get a little sweeter taste. But I'm going to go ahead and put them in. And then get this mixed up. Oh. So like I said, you know, you're cooking these potatoes strictly, they're totally raw. They go into the olive oil. They cook completely in the olive oil, which is that's what makes the tortilla, I think. Because the potatoes soak up that olive oil and they are just delicious. You'll see. Okay, so these are done. These are totally done. I'm pushing through. It's just nice. Like I can tell if I bit into that, it would be really good. Okay, I turned off the heat and I let it sit there for a second. It helps this stuff on the bottom kind of scrape off. All right, the next step is I'm going to pour the potatoes in here and drain the oil, which can be reused, into a pan. Oh. Okay. Oh boy, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to scrape, first of all, I'm going to scrape that off, but I want to just get these draining. Okay, yep. Yeah, so it's pretty mushy, but you still want chunks of potato. You don't want it to be all mush. All right, so look at the rest of this. This is the good part. See, that is the good part right there. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like this potatoey, salty, crunchy, well, sort of sticky. Okay, so that goes in. Oof. Yum. Okay. Every little bit into the tortilla. Okay, now as I'm doing this, I am going to start heating up my tortilla pan. So I'll show you what I mean. So now all this oil is in there. I'm going to use that oil to grease the pan that I'm going to make the tortilla. Okay, next step is to pour this into the eggs and mix it around. Okay. Oops. Still coming out, so let me wait a second. You can see it's dripping out of there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do this really quick because that way I can get this oil in here. You put a fair amount. You do not want your tortilla to stick. I think that's good. I'm going to turn that on and get it like nice and hot. I might put a little more. Extra is okay because that's fine. Okay. So now I'm going to take this. And these potatoes just go right into this egg mixture. I did add another egg because just the proportions seemed like I needed to do that. So now, I think this is going to be good. Probably could have done it with 4 eggs. So that looks like me sobra el huevo. But, so it's a little extra egg. No, but see, it's looking good. Yeah, you want it to be, I think that looks good. That looks nice. Okay, so now I just gotta wait for this over here to get hot. Ooh, that's good. See how it pops like that? Yeah, so now I am going to dump this in the pan. All right, gotta get that all. See, that's good. So the oil, you can see how it's kind of coming up around. That means it's enough. It's not going to stick. Okay. Okay. So my thing now is that I just want to make sure it's not sticking. It's not. See how I go around? It's not sticking. And you'll see that the tortilla, let me give it a second. I'm going to turn it down. Now I'm going to turn it down a tad because you want it to get like a crust and then kind of turn it down because it's got to cook through the middle. We're going to flip it to cook the other side like I mentioned. That's nice. Okay, so you can see how the tortilla, the whole thing is moving in the pan. Watch. See? I feel like it's sticking a little bit over here, but okay. Sometimes people will go like this. See how that's all like raw egg? So if you go like this and get that down to the bottom, that'll cook a little more. So some people like to do that, not so much me. So I'm turning this down. The other thing you can do to kind of help it along is put a top on it for a second. That'll keep the heat in. All right, I put the lid on and that is looking good. So that took like 5 minutes. This is a pretty thick tortilla, so it's taking a while to cook. So I did turn it down. You can see where it's still kind of liquidy there, but that's okay because I'm going to flip it and cook that side of it. What I don't want is for it to fall apart when I flip it because it's not done. So the way, and I was asked like, how do you know? Well, I can see that the edges are dry and cooked. And the smell of it is part of it. So now, and the other, I think, thing is, okay, so like I do that, I can see how it's moving. But I can see those liquid parts are still a little jelly. Like I'm gonna flip it onto this plate and then I'm gonna slide it off. And that part, I don't know. Man, this one is taking a while. I'm gonna wait because I don't want it to be messed up. Okay, all right. Still kind of liquidy on the top. This is very thick, but I think we're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. Yeah, that's gonna be okay. So you want to make sure that you can see the tortilla like non-sticking in the pan, that it, I can see that it's going to hang together, right? Like it's not going to split apart because it's cooked enough. Okay, so here's the part that everyone's like, how do you flip it? I'm going to turn this off. Well, no, I don't need to. Okay, so you put the plate on top, then you take it like this. This is heavy. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now, ooh, look at that. So now we do have to cook. I got a little piece there I need to get off so that doesn't stick. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little more oil in there because I do not want any sticky part. I got to get that hot. Okay, come on. I don't know why that stuck. Okay, so now I'm going to slide this back in. That's a big tortilla. That tortilla might have been a little big for the pan. But look, I can just go like this. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God, that is going to be delicious. I mean, maybe that's why I like to cook. It's like, I wish that didn't come off. Ooh, see? I don't know. That's not happened to me really before where it's... I'm going to put that right on there. Yum! Okay, so look at that. It's not sticking. I think it's done. Just had to get that bottom part done. So I'm going to turn it off. Cleaned off my plate, which you don't really have to do, depending. And, you gotta get it to come out. Ta-da. Look at that. Let me see how. Oh, good. Spanish tortilla. Tortilla española. Se puede comer con, no sé, cualquier cosa. You can eat this with anything. You can make a sandwich. Oh, yeah, bye. Thanks for coming. It was really fun.